Are you giggling?
Yeah, I'm watching YouTube and Facebook.
We're going to wait a few more minutes because it just went live not long ago. But hey, Bigfoot and Jimmy, how you doing, man? Doing all right? Good evening, Dennis. We're just going to give it a few more minutes for more people to join in so I don't have to end up repeating things. So if you want to get something to drink or whatever, you can come back whenever you're ready to come back. It'll be a few more minutes. I'd say maybe probably about 2-3 more minutes. All right, everybody. This is basically just going to offer some. I read some of the questions that were coming back on the post earlier from today about experiments, and I think there's not enough clarification going on. It's probably likely what most people don't realize. They keep asking, "What's this Clearview Ranch stuff?" The the Clearview uh, first of all, if I run the famous, more notorious ranches to where these type of activity occurs at, ranging from UFO phenomena all the way through Bigfoot phenomena. You have the legendary Skinwalker Ranch. You have the Mount Wilson Ranch. You have the Bradshaw Ranch. You have the Clearview Ranch. And a lot of these tales go back on these stories and everything on these ranches. They go back for years and years ago. Although, years ago when I was a kid, some of these stories go back to, like on Clearview. Some of the stories that Katie was talking about was when she was a child on that particular ranch. But what I mean when I tell people to go watch the Clearview video, and I've posted links before in the past, is that there's a few videos out there. There's a pretty decent video that explains really well what happened on the Clearview Ranch. The Clearview Ranch is in Colorado, and it had a multitude of things going on that ranch. But it has a very, very fascinating story that would allude to ET type beings that was on the ranch, and in regards to what the ranch owner was seeing when he was speaking to these two beings. uh, what happened to a Bigfoot type creature. The Bigfoot type creature basically came out of the darkness on the side where these two guys was. All right, let me back it up. Basically, the rancher was in the middle of doing things on the ranch. They had had a lot of stuff happen on this ranch. Okay, let's just call it all that. Uh, Extraterrestrial that had seen multitudes of ships come in and look at and hover over their yard. Bigfooting creatures, all kind of things on their ranch, orbs, the whole nine yards. So it's a smorgasbord of stuff that's happened on the Clearview Ranch. Why I wanted people to talk about or to watch the Clearview Ranch is and how it relates to the experiments is that the ranch owner was trying to chase down some lights out there, and he ends up talking to these two guys that supposedly is near a craft that is just on the ground. If I remember correctly from the story, there's like a beehive type cube. I know where have we heard this cube stuff before on the ground. I think David Paulides had that in his last video about how the hunter explained about the cube being that was on the ground. But anyway, at the Clearview Ranch, this cube-like thing was on the ground, and these two beings were like warning the ranch owner, "Don't go near that thing. Leave it alone. Don't go near there. It's not good for you," type thing. And supposedly a Bigfoot type creature comes out of the wood line, goes to pick up this cube and like falls over dead. And that's basically why I'm telling people to go listen to the video. Man, if you just go on YouTube and just type in there Clearview Ranch, you're going to see a host of things come up about this ranch. It's not anything difficult to do, but check it out. Go look at it because there's some commonalities with that. Skinwalker Ranch also has had sightings of Bigfoot creatures as well. I want to say Mount Wilson also, and I want to say Bradshaw also. So those are some of the main ones that are out west. Even I want to say Trey Hudson's meadow area out in, well, I can't say the area, has this cube thing. So this cube thing is relevant to a lot of this stuff. All right. So how does this all tie into these quantum experiments and stuff like that? Okay. As you guys know, and I've said it before, I am an insider on the Skinwalker Ranch deal. It's not anything fancy that you got to do to become that you have to become to be an insider. It's just a monthly subscription that you pay or an annual subscription that you pay, and you get access to the team's discussions after the shows. The teams get together and they do discussions after the show, explain what goes on, and then you get to see the ranch and various aspects of the ranch with the cameras. The cameras are constantly running 24/7. You see some very interesting things that the cameras pick up, and they run like a spreadsheet as well. The ranch is under I'm telling you, it's like under 24-hour surveillance from the insiders. And the insiders will document everything. They're getting more and more high speed with how they do their documentation, and so when a guy like me comes along that is just too busy, I just pull open the spreadsheet, click the link, and I go watch and see what happened. I don't have to sit there and watch cameras for hours upon end. All right, so that's a little bit about the insider. So how does this tie into the experiment that we're doing with these quantum experiments? Um, as an example, what they had done, Travis, as you see on Skinwalker Ranch, Travis and Eric were getting together and they were proposing some things for the insiders to be able to do as they were doing their filming for the show. And one of the things they brought up was pink. Um, Pink was brought up at one time, and also the number 33 was brought up also at one time. Things that were just chosen at random from Travis and Eric. And what it is that they were throwing it out. They were throwing it out there, and they were just having a meeting. And for an example, this is kind of sort of how it goes. Uh, they will just simply say, "Hey guys, just think on pink. Just think on pink." And so what that means is that it is an evaluation of testing quantum physics and how it can behave when hundreds and hundreds or even 1,000 people or more using their mental brain power are focused on a particular thought or are focused on a particular thing. So that's what they threw out there. They said, "Hey, pink." They just grabbed the color off the clear blue sky and said pink. Well, as you saw in the last few episodes, when they had basically saw the element that was there was some kind of pink residue that was found in the mesa. All right. The weird thing is that the the pink stuff was found. I want to say like within a couple of days. I think I want to say within a couple of days of when they put that out to the insiders to focus on the word and see if anything would, rationally materialize from pink. And so that's kind of how it goes. And so that ties in with a lot of the work that I would like to do with this channel and the channel's viewers as well, as far as using people to be involved in experiments. So the experiment that we did today was basically the 1.6 gigahertz frequency that was recorded off of Skinwalker Ranch as well. Now, how does the 1.6 gigahertz tie into a lot of things? I think it ties into a lot of things. It isn't, I don't think it's just simply just a frequency that they're hearing all the time. They also heard this at the Bradshaw Ranch as well, the 1.6. But the 1.6, as some people might know, ties into maybe what could be considered as a golden rule, to where a lot of things in nature, it was identified years and years ago that there's some type of a natural occurrence when it comes to how the numbers are counted in this ratio of 1 to 1 to 1.6. So it's a 1 to a ratio of 1.6. So if you it's much too much for me to get into a lengthy discussion about that, but you have to go YouTube what the golden ratio is, what it means, and what it is. But it's 1.6 is what it comes down to, and the last few digits of the numbers go like to infinity. And you get these numbers based upon simple mathematics of adding the two numbers together and two numbers together and two numbers together, kind of like binary. Two numbers, like 0 and 1 equals 1, and then you go to the next number, and 1 plus 1 would equal 2, and then the next number, you keep adding those two numbers, and it keeps going and keeps going, and this kind of sort of how it is. And it's just really, really interesting if you look into this. So I would tell people to look into that, and that's the reason why uh, Clearview Ranch ties into it, because Skinwalker Ranch ties into this also. Uh, and so that's what we did today. So we went out in the swamp today, and hopefully the thing was going to be at 9 o'clock. The video came out at 7:30, and some people were confused about it, but there was a recording from Skinwalker Ranch on there as well, that if people wanted to participate, that they could actively think about what they were hearing, and focus on the 1.6 frequency, okay, with the intent of being able to acquire the use of many people's minds by thinking on the subject, and that it could be a quantum experiment. The more you start realizing, the more you start digging into and researching what the quantum physicists are saying about quantum physics, quantum mechanics, it it is probably uh, it is light years ahead of the classical physics, and in my opinion, it is probably really the only thing that can kind of explain what happens to researchers in the field, is the explanation of quantum physics. So that's the premise of the experiment. Did we get anything today? When we were running a little bit late, and we were running a little late on the trail, and it's explained in the video. Kind of something strange happened. when we finally got on station. So at 9 o'clock, nothing happened at 9 o'clock. So I have no idea how many people really participated in the experiment at all. Just don't know. I don't think I got many views, to be quite honest with you. So maybe 25 people maybe participated or not, maybe 10. I don't know. So I do not know. I don't know those. I don't know that data to analyze. But I didn't see any. I had a FLIR running. I didn't see any temperature change on the FLIRs. I didn't see anything running around us or anything like that. So, in all aspects, when I reviewed over the footage, it didn't seem like that I could distinguish. Didn't seem like anything out of the normal happened. So, like I said, I don't know how many people participated in it or not. We might do this again in the future, maybe in a different way. But like I said, that is the point of it. The point of it is to be able to use many people's minds and the power of people's minds to contribute to an experiment with the intent of creating a quantum flux of some sort, if you will, a quantum dynamic flux of being able to reach out and affect a change in many miles away. And in the video, I also had illustrations in the videos of where these ranches were located at. And oh, by the way, I'm always leaving I am always leaving Easter eggs in a lot of my videos from time to time. And I don't think people are catching on to that. In that video that I pulled down had the location of pretty much where I think the ranch is located at in Colorado as well. So pay attention to my videos and my video work. I reveal much more things in there than most people realize. So what is this Clearview? Well, if you just would have paid attention and maybe put that video in slow motion, you probably would have saw there was a little pin in the state of Colorado, and then you probably would have got an idea. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you could have seen the word Clearview there. I don't know, but I'm just telling you, I lay Easter eggs in these videos from time to time, and you guys should be looking for that stuff, especially videos like that. And so that's just a little one-off for you to think about that. All right. Yeah, 30. So I'm trying not to be too long-winded on this one, guys. And so if you want, we can take a few questions. I can scroll through there. If you have a few questions for me, I have a 5-second delay turned on, and it's so you have to write. You can type a question out, and then you have to wait 5 seconds before you can type another one. But it's just a 5-second delay. It's not like 30 seconds or anything like that. Try to put them in caps. I know you're not screaming at me if you put them in caps, but try to put them in caps so I can see them a whole lot easier. So I'm just going to scroll through here right here and look at the chat so far. It doesn't look like a lot of people in, but that's okay because it's an impromptu live meeting. And what day are we on? Saturday? Yeah, people are going out to eat and stuff like that. No big deal. So it's just better time for everybody else that happens to be on. Okay, let me look. Let me just bear with me as I read through some of these things and put the old man glasses on. Spacecraft. All right, David M. Let's what's up? Okay, Kraka TV. What's up with humans caught on trail cams walking on all fours? Don't think it's human. Well, I don't know anything about that. I don't know if I can answer to that. It seems like the latest and craze that's going on. Seems like the latest craze going on lately is the stuff that they're saying that happened out in Las Vegas with these lights that supposedly crashed or made like crash type sounds, and then they had this one guy, this young man's out there on the video saying that it freaking had like aliens out there. So I don't know. I don't know on that one. Okay, the 33, that is funny. 33 has a lot of significance for people that want to research the number 33. 33 has a lot of meaning to it. Okay, David M. Spacecraft that landed in the backyard of Las Vegas, Nevada. Bruce sees all on YouTube for the video when they went back. Yeah, when they went in the backyard, it shows the creature. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to that video also because I only had my phone running at the time that I was notified of it. So I need to see it on a larger screen. Hey Teresa, how you doing? It's been a while since I saw you. You doing all right? Doing good? Are you still hanging out in Florida still? Ah, well, you can just PM me. That's good. I can see myself a little better now. All right, that's good. All right, Jill. There was no sound on the video, and everything looked kind of pixelated. Yeah, yeah. We're really on the edge. That area of the green swamp. Really, we're really pushing the range when it comes to any kind of getting a signal out of the green swamp. It makes it almost not really productive because it's a horrible quality when it comes out. It didn't have sound on it because I was playing the 1.6 gigahertz thing. Here it is right here. This is what I was playing today. I was playing the 1.6 gig and it was basically Bluetooth into my speaker. And I didn't realize that at first because all the texting and everything is so minuscule tiny on a go live. It's really not a good platform to use. But here it is right here. So that's what I was you know here's the speaker here. That's what I was playing today. As you can hear that. All right. That actually was recorded off the television channel on Skinwalker Ranch when they discovered it. It goes back. It goes back to. Well, let me just shut this thing down. All right. It goes back to 2001 when Eric and Travis first discovered it. And so it was Bluetooth into my speaker, and that's why we didn't have sound at first. So that explains why you didn't have sound. And pixelation's horrible. All right, discover Sasquatch. What's up, Chris? How you doing, buddy? How's things in the house? Beata just said good, and we pay attention to Indy a lot of times when Indy's walking around the house, and we try to see Indy's behavior. If we think she sees things that maybe we don't see, and so we watch the dog from time, well, not from time to time, but we'll watch the dog's actions all the time. Beata says good, and I honestly think the last time that something happened was when I told everybody about the bananas just coming off the sink, the little countertop right there, and neither one of us was near the bananas. So on that note, I'm just gonna leave it at good. Good so far. All right, Cochran. Okay, what's your opinion on the 1.6 gigahertz? It's a very good question, man. Okay. They keep getting it, and then they went to Bradshaw. They went to Bradshaw, and they got the 1.6 gigahertz there. What a lot of people don't realize, and is the guy in the Beyond Skinwalker show had basically trying to remember the guy's name. I'll get his name down. Okay, just bypass it. The younger man, the CIA dude. The Bustamante, I think is what his last name is. Okay, so he said basically the 1.6 is deep sky type thing that is used. What it is that the 1.1 gigahertz to the 1.8 gigahertz range is basically has been allotted for GPS use for the U.S. government. And they specifically have that stuff fixated on channels. And I want to say that the GPS network has long been in place for a while. And I think the lifespan is like 30 years. So those satellites have long been up and running and they're going to be fine tuned. And what all they can do with those satellites, I don't know. But I do know that they make satellite adjustments for time and, keep them on the right path and everything like that. But actually, I think the 1.6 gigahertz could probably be something that's ancient. It could actually be something in the mesa that has some kind of ancient aspect to it, to where, let me just run down some things. It could be some kind of artificial intelligence from some type of a obelisk thing there, like going back to the days of where the pyramids were put on, where the pyramids would, where I said where they were put on there when they were built. It could be something like this. Although the team feels that it is something metallic. So could it be something? Could the 1.6 be something ancient? Could be. It could be a craft. It could be an extraterrestrial craft in there. They haven't, I can't speak for the Skinwalker Ranch team on that aspect because I honestly feel that they don't know yet. And so they are very confident that is some that the elements that they found were highly metallic. So if you think about that, now I have hold the thought on the metallic. I have went all the way back. I went to the state of Utah Geological Survey website and I pulled all the maps for that place. The area, when you watch the television show, the area of the rock debris field is kind of round when you pretty much look at it. And that rock debris field round goes back to 1936. You can still see it in photos that they had did surveys all the way back to 1936. You can see that round debris field in there as the airplane flew over and took photos. So that kind of rules out, you know, the US government doing missile programs. Remember everybody back in the 1970s that they were trying to front with Congress that $1 trillion program of building MX missiles, and they were going to use Nevada and certain places out west to do that. Well, supposedly the Mount Wilson Ranch was an area that they were going to use to build the MX missile silos as well. So I got to thinking, well, maybe that metallic thing is a missile silo, that from a long lost government program that they just don't know about. And and it was collapsed all in to bury it up because they couldn't get the reinforced concrete out. That's just brainstorming. So but like I said, the 1936 photographs kind of debunked that. So I'm alluding to the fact that, man, if they find something, this could be something jaw dropping that if they ever get that far in there to be able to see. Maybe they'll get close enough to get a sample of it or to, drill a hole and drop a camera in. I don't know. I'm just saying, this not what they said, but I'm just saying, the logical. That's probably what most people would do. So I hope I answered your 1.6. I think the 1.6 stuff is real. I, my hunch is that it's not probably something with the government. And that 1.6 is very, very kind of closely related to the golden ratio. And if the 1.6 is going on something to do with the golden ratio, that's going to be freaking jaw dropping, folks. Whatever it might be. All right. Jill Martin. Yes, I did hear that, but the picture was bad. Okay, we're talking about the video. All right. Gordon C. 6 got some weird looks, but did it you till 9:10 repeat? Ha ha. Okay, yeah, he's talking about the video. We'll see when I didn't do a very good job on getting it out there and maybe clarifying myself with viewers to be able to, what their role should be and how it can maybe help in these experiments. Maybe we should uh, clarify that some more of it. Maybe a live thing, and I just lay out like the plan and then kind of sort of do it. Miss Bama. Hi, Chris. Everyone. The metal noises freak me out. The metal noises freak me out. Are you talking about metal noises?
The experiment.
Oh,
Your
the thing like that. Actually, it sounds kind of. And that's a pressure wave. there's nothing transmitting here. It's just basically a sound wave of what they could hear. That's really all it is. It's not like there's anything transmitting from it. Okay, Bama, Bama, Bama. This could be big. Yes. Yep. Thanks. Okay. Hopefully I answered that question. Okay. And all right. So there's not a lot of questions coming in. So I guess everybody's ready to head off and do their Saturday deal. So is there any more other things that you guys would want me to ask or address or anything like that? Bigfoot has okay, Christine 1921. Bigfoot has been covered up for decades. I'm 72 in Michigan, been following this topic since the late 1960s. And it's a crying shame. Not that you're 72, but it is a crying shame that this has been going on and going on and going on. And it's basically the same song and dance. And so you can ask yourself, why is it the same song and dance? Is there something else going on to it? You know, has there been bodies really actually found and they're just being held in, these secret cubby holes of the government? Well, then then it's not just US government, if they're worldwide, then where else are they being held? So there's other governments, around the world as well. And why are they not? Why is a body not showing up? And you got to think about that. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just, this is a logical question. Well, what's wrong with it? Where's the body? Why is there not being a body presented? So we really need to do to ask ourselves, and it's a crying shame that this is just par for the course in the Bigfooting community. And when we started to encounter a lot of the stuff in the swamp, with a lot of the stuff that we were, coming across, the whole Bigfooting thing is, I'm telling you, I've done it. I've said this time and time again. The whole Bigfooting thing, folks, and the Bigfoot subject in this whole frame, if you will, is minuscule. It is minuscule with what is really all going on out there. All right. Sorry, autocorrect. All right, Gordon, I repeated the 1.6 for about 10 minutes while in a car. Thank you very much. I'll look at the video. I looked at the video. There was times that the meter was running pretty high. But we did have phones with us, but there are times that we weren't touching phones at all, doing anything to do with phones, and the meter was screaming at times. So I don't know, was it really? I was hopeful, maybe optimistic around maybe around 9 o'clock a.m. if there was enough people involved that maybe we could have got some reactions out of the meter. The 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 illustrations were provided to you in the video so you could actually see the green swamp area. Those were survey areas done when Chris Reinhardt came down with his drone. So those were real photos of the area. All right, the pace at which stuff is being released on the topic is amazing versus 10 years ago. Yeah, it is. Why is that? Why is the pace increasing? Why is the pace increasing with the information of UFOs being released and Bigfooting? It seems like the Bigfooting topic has taken a back seat when you listen to all the information that comes out and it's released. It seems like the Bigfooting topic is like taking a sidebar seat. It's on the side burner, not the main burner. And it seems like it's all ET, extraterrestrial all the way. But I'm telling you, there are some sinister plans out there when it comes to the use of extraterrestrials. And I want to say even David Paulides had even mentioned this in his last film. I had known about that for many, many years. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well. And one of the things was Project Bluebeam. And basically the gist of the Project Bluebeam was basically it was going to be a fake rapture, and it was going to be ET based, and they were going to make people on the earth think that they got left behind because the rapture took place, and that the gods and masters of the universe that were all behind the the execution of the program would be able to have their way with whoever was on the earth by making them think that they were left behind. So you really have to be you really got to be so you got to be up on this stuff, and you got to be mindful of these things. A lot of this stuff is not nonsense, and a lot of stuff Hollywood tells us, kind of makes you wonder how many people out there kind of wonder what Hollywood producers on these movies, what they really do know, what they're being shared with. If you listen to Gary Nolan at all on some of his YouTube broadcasts, they must have dinner. These guys must have dinner parties and be discussing stuff like this behind the scenes in their lives. And he shares some stuff that he's pretty much on spot on. Like, oh man, this stuff's all real. This stuff is completely real when it comes to extraterrestrial and stuff like that. All right, how you doing, Lee? Man, dude, it's nighttime over there, man. Are you up in the middle of the night? But anyway, hey, good to see you commenting. All right, does have anybody else? We've been on 37 minutes. So has anybody else got any more questions? Seems like it's like I said, seems like it's a slow night. That's okay. It's nearly 1 a.m. I thought so. So much wood evidence here in mid Michigan. Never been to Michigan. Okay. So is everybody straight? It's weekend. You're worth staying up for. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. So does everybody understand pretty much what I mean by these quantum type experiments? And basically, we use your brain power, the viewership's brain power, to focus their thoughts on something to be able to project or be able to affect some kind of a spontaneous event that could take place. And that's really the whole gist of it. Okay, Gordon C. I'll probably keep talking. I don't know. I don't think we'll go past an hour. So it's been up 38 minutes so far. But you think there is anything with combining 1.6 with the other harmonic frequencies? Well, yeah. Well, I've explained this like this also. The Schumann resonance frequencies. The Schumann resonance frequencies are frequencies that go around the Earth, and they're basically trapped frequencies that are trapped going around the earth based, and they're created by lightning strikes. So at any given time, they say there's like 2,000 lightning strikes going on around the whole complete surface of the earth at any given time of the day. And so these strikes produce an electromagnetic reaction. It goes around the atmosphere, and as the sun increases and heats up the ionosphere will expand and contract and expand and contract, and these frequencies just bounce around the earth. All right. As I've explained before, you guys know I'm an Army communications chief, and so as I've explained things before, to have intelligence placed on the carrier wave is basically how it works. And so if you talk about how radio frequencies and how frequencies work in the most simplest terms, you speak into a simplistic microphone, and the microphone, takes, the energy, the voice from, the energy from the voice, and it applies it through the circuitry, the circuitry in the radio, and it applies it to the carrier wave. And so So if you had a carrier, let's just say you had a carrier wave of 30 megahertz and you speak into a microphone, then it would be 30 megahertz plus the human frequency portion added to it. So if you're speaking at 1500 hertz, it would be 30 megahertz plus that additional, 1.5 kilohertz on there as well. So it's placed and added upon the carrier wave. So when you think about it, he talked about the 1.6 frequency. So is there a worldwide web going on around the Earth with these human resonance frequencies? And there's a lot of people doing studying with this stuff. And if you go and watch Carl the Crusher's channel, he's also working with those Skinwalker Ranch guys also. But if you go watch his channel, he does a very good job on explaining um, that concept and how it all interacts. But if the human resonance frequency is if it is like a worldwide web for natural phenomena to use and natural phenomena to access, so to speak, then it could be an instantaneous event at the speed of light as it moves from one spot to the next spot. Remember, the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second, and I want to say 300,000 kilometers per hour. That's pretty far considering the distance of the Earth, of how something could instantaneously move itself from one point to another. So yeah, I do think that the 1.6 could have something to do with other frequencies and how it can move itself around the Earth. Explain how it's on the Bradshaw Ranch. Now they will be going the next ranch they are going to be going to on that television show, and this is not a secret. They've put this out already. I want to say the Mount Wilson Ranch is going to be the next ranch they're going to go to. Now, the Mount Wilson Ranch was visited by Bigelow himself, and Bigelow was also targeting that ranch to buy prior to him buying Skinwalker Ranch. And there's a lot of stuff at this ranch that they feel has composites of minerals and stuff in the ranch, and they feel it might have something to do with being able. This is what they think. They think Bigelow was there to be able to study the ranch area, and and he was really interested in trying to reach out and contact the afterlife, and do a lot of the studying and work with this. And and the Wilson Ranch is, they think, an area that could have some mineral content in there that could help with like brain power and the consciousness aspect of being able to do things with consciousness. In other words, if you put yourself in a particular area of the ranch, is what they were trying to study. That if you put yourself in particular areas of the ranch, can your brain powers tie into things and be amplified and communicate to the other realms, these other realms? And that's what they were doing really seriously. It's what they were looking into in this ranch area. And also the US government was thinking about putting MX missiles there. What a tangled web that what a tangled web that one would have been, huh? Can you imagine putting nuclear missiles in a place like that that's highly paranormal? Come on, man, that'd be freaking off the chain. And so, yeah, I'm glad they didn't build the missiles out there. Okay, Jason Smith, let's see. Have you figured out that there are small, I'm making the assumption BF means Bigfoot, less than an inch tall? They look the same size as larger 8 to 12 foot tall Bigfoot size relevant? Jason Smith. All right, so are you asking me, can they be like micro? Can they be like micro size? Um, if you think, and I'm under the assumption you don't mean like an infant or anything like that. You're just saying a miniature aspect of that. Well, it depends on how you think about things. Are you in the flesh and blood camp, or are you in the, um, you know, Bigfoot is more of a spiritual being, it has more aspects that can go paranormal as well. Depends on your camp and your point of view on things with that. Could it be possible? I don't know. We don't have a body. We don't have a living specimen to really go by. So until we have something like that, I really do think until we have stuff like this, guys, the Bigfooting community is just going to be the Bigfooting community is just going to be spinning its wheels, man, over and over and over, and they're going to be going over the next 25 years, knocking on trees, and oh, primates do this. I'm telling you guys, I've had freaking wood knocks just, mere feet away from me. And, is it the tree splitting? Is it something paranormal taking place? On this one encounter, I'll just tell you what happened on this one encounter. On this one encounter, I was out there with Chris Reinhardt and my sister, and was playing the Skinwalker Ranch guy, the one that was opening up. He was opening a portal to another realm with his chants and his singing and everything like that. And I was playing that out there, and I walked away from the team, and I heard it kind of freaked me out because it got up on me so close from the rear. I heard like a shifting of weight, like something was standing behind me and it shifted its weight. And it was just mere feet away from me. I'm telling you, within maybe 10 feet or just a little bit more, maybe. I mean, close. And it made me like turn around. I got on a nerve and turn around. I didn't see anything, but I heard it. I heard it. Even my audio recorders heard it. But when I got back to Betty and Chris said, "Did you hear that knock?" And I was like, "No, I didn't hear a knock. I didn't hear that knock." But when I went back to the audio recorders, it's a knock. It was a knock, but I did not hear a knock at that time. So that is often reported by researchers as well, that they end up hearing things differently than what the equipment could pick up or what other people perceive it to be as well. And that's very profound also if you think about it. All right, so you got capital letters. Yes, please, capital letters really help. All right, Discover Sasquatch. All right, Chris, what you think? Do you think using these frequencies will eventually lead to contact with what you're looking for? I think about it. I think about a lot of things, man, and um, man, if I told you what my plans were, I'll just say, what does Stonehenge and other places have something in common? And if you look around various parts of the world, how to answer your question, yeah, but I'm looking for more than just Bigfoot, guys. I'm looking for the truth out there. I'm looking for answers, and I'm really fascinated with it. And I'm just looking for answers. Answers. Not really interested in a lot of the evidence part. I like the data. The data is absolutely necessary because the data compiles and it gives you a course, it gives you a heading when you compile data. So, really, you're a data collector and it determines your course, your direction, your bearing. So, you got to collect data and analyze it, and it determines how you go. So, to answer your question, Chris, yeah, but it's not just Bigfooting that I'm after here. And I'll talk with you offline about it because I'm really not prepared to say a lot of things out in the open with it just yet. So if that can maybe answer your questions, but I'm saying, we've had some discussions before. I think you know where I'm leaning on this. And I'll just say it like this. How did the megalithic structures that are found in various portions of the world been created from civilizations that apparently didn't have the technology at the time period to be able to see one another, but yet their construction methods are similar, very similar? How's that possible? If you think about it, how's megalithic structures that are in Peru and other countries similar to other constructions and other portions of the world at time periods to where apparently they were not vastly traveling around the earth? I'm going to tell you, I think the answer is they were able to use their minds, and they traveled vast distances being able to use their minds. And how much they were able to do and how much they were able to see. But I think that's kind of a clue, and I think it could be an interesting thing that we're looking into to collect more data for. And, you know, California, maybe I'm got my hunch with it as well. Oh well, hit me with it offline. And we'll talk about it in more detail. Okay, easy living Sherpa Sasquatch exists in some form, but doesn't conform to conventional notations of reality. It's different from what people perceive or expect. I kind of lean on what Native Americans have long always been saying, guys, when it comes to describing the Sasquatch types. I don't really kind of put a whole lot of I don't really put a whole lot of stuff into what the academia says. I'm like, hey, look, academia. If you want to have a say so with it, then get your butt out there and do the work. Evidently, they're not doing the work because nothing's been produced. There's more stuff being produced by amateurs out there than I don't know. Just I think the Native Americans have long had it right in the descriptions and their capabilities and what they really are, and just that we just need to really heed it. You know. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So if I'm building a structure, if I'm building a palace in Peru, and we are 2,000 years BC, and I'm building a palace in Peru, and the construction methods that we're using are similar to what is found in, let's just say, in Mesopotamia or someplace on a Mediterranean island someplace. Let's just say that the structures are similar, even to the point to where they could potentially use fasteners. How do they do that? How do they do that? That's what it's about. Okay. They used their minds. I'm willing to bet you they used their minds to be able to communicate. And there's a rational explanation to it. The most simplest explanation is, alien spaceships pick people up and then move people around, and that's. But I think it could be something ancient to it as well. Stonehenge, stuff like that. All right. Okay. They may have a hidden or unconventional nature that defies common understanding. Yeah. Until we get a living, breathing specimen, and we're going to go around in circles on it. You live in the city of San Francisco, and I can tell you for a fact that there are Bigfoots in the city. Want clear photos? I have them. No, you don't have to. You don't even really have to. You don't have to prove anything. Not for me. I'm not a person that has to see to believe. I have always leaned on my other senses as well. And the old gut sense tells you a lot. Tells you a lot of what direction to believe or not. And all right, so how was Mark doing? I get this question all the time, and I answer this question all the time. And I don't know what he's been up to. Every time I do text him occasionally, we don't really see each other no more. He's moved away. He lives in St. Pete. Every time I say, hey, how you doing? Whenever we text and chat, and I haven't spoken to him in like 2 years, and I've just been leaving him alone. I want him to, break away from all this stuff. And he says he's doing okay, so that I have to take him for what he means by that, and that he's being, that he's not doing a smoke screen or something like that. But from what he tells me, he says he's okay. He's doing good. So Lee, Chris you're talking about telepathy. Could be more than that. Could be along the lines of remote viewing, what they call remote viewing. Could be more than remote viewing of how they're able to do this stuff. In other words, at the speed of thought. You got the speed of light. How fast do you think the speed of thought is? If you just track with me on a second, all right? We all look up into the night sky. We all look up into the night sky all the time. And in the wintertime, what do we see the most? We see the constellation Orion. But if you look at Orion, and whether people don't know this or not, and I think a lot of people do, but if you look at Orion, you see the three stars, Orion's belt. Below those three stars, there's a little bit of glob of something. Depends on where you're living at in the world. If you have enough dark sky, you'll see this little glob of stuff. That is the Orion Nebula. All right. Now the Orion Nebula is supposed to be like, I want to say like 1.7 something trillion, whatever miles or light years, or it's not anything, kind of close. It is in our galaxy, but it's not, really too close. But how fast do you think you could envision yourself like you're on Star Trek, and envision yourself at the speed of thought that you can project your mind all the way to the Orion? Let's just say you project your thoughts, you project your mind all the way to the Orion Nebula, and you are looking at the Orion Nebula in space. Okay. You don't need to have a body, because you don't require air to breathe. You don't require any temperature controls. You don't require anything, but you're able to look at the Orion Nebula in all its glory because you have thought yourself there. You took yourself there via your thoughts. And this is where a lot of this research is going, folks. It is the power of the human consciousness aspects. The governments are doing more and more and more work with this, and more studies with this. And this is all in the quantum physics. It's not hocus pocus, and it's not mumbo jumbo. The stuff is actually real, and can you teleport yourself through thoughts? Maybe one day. I don't know. I don't know about now, but maybe one day it could happen with a device or something like this. You don't know. All right. So, you're talking about, okay, Paranormal Central. I don't watch a lot of YouTube channels out there, to be quite honest with you. So I don't see a lot of other channels. I watch a lot of physicists have their discussions. I'm always educating myself. Absolutely trust your intuition, man. I'm telling you, because your intuition is something that was given to you. And you have to hone that skill of intuition, because your intuition is your gut. Your gut's going to tell you something's wrong or something's right. Got that deja vu thing, right? Whenever we get this deja vu, the premise of deja vu is, what do we normally get? Positive experience or negative experience? We kind of think we're able to forecast something into the future, and it just kind of comes over us and we're able to sense it. But with me, it's like, oh my God, I just had this feeling. Was it something positive or was it something negative that's going to become of it? And that's, why does these things happen to us? We all get it. Trust your intuition. Absolutely. Okay. My question is, will we get the ultimate proof one day? Will it be dangerous for Bigfoot? I don't think we're going to get this Bigfoot type thing in a flesh and blood type thing. I I kind of keep leaning on the premise of what the Native Americans told us about this Bigfooting thing, the Bigfoot creature, that is an entirely a spiritual being, and it has the ability to transcend. It can come and go. It can be in our it can be in our three-dimensional general relativity world that Einstein told us all about. Um, and what is this fourth dimension? That a lot of people think that the fourth dimension is time. Um, but time. Some people say time. Well, time is just a man-made construct. But they're also talking about there would be no gravity without time. So there's a lot more stuff going on when you think about general relativity and special relativity and how it all interacts and how these guys theorized how things work. But if you've never heard about that, is that, and I think there is some truth to this, is that gravity is dependent upon time, and if there was no time, we wouldn't have gravity. Well, then if we don't have gravity in the universe, then what the heck? If you think about what the heck, we don't even understand gravity, guys. If you think about it, our scientists don't even understand. They know it's there, but they don't even understand how it really functions. Hey, that's it. That's what I was looking for, Jill. That go Becky go Beckley TP type highs TP TP or something like that. Yeah, that's supposed to be a very ancient old civilization that they dug up, and yeah, I really do think a lot of the answers to stuff is that you guys really should watch a lot of shows that digs into the ancient secrets of man, and in our ancient civilizations. I think a lot of our answers can be yielded from watching these television shows and learning how they built these vast civilizations. I mean, they still find civilizations that are in the jungles of Central America that they didn't know was there based upon lidar radar, and they're finding these things more and more and more. And I was just thinking the other day about how they can terraform Mars. I think they could do it. I think they have the technology to do it now, and they could terraform Mars and build an atmosphere and just let it go on its natural course. I don't think that's too far off the table either. All right, I see myself sitting on the beach right now. I hope your view is good. And if it's a Florida beach, the sun's probably going down by now. All right, so we've been on over an hour. I promise not to drag on and just go on. So if there's any more last questions, let's give this about another couple minutes. So if there's no more other questions out there, I'll go ahead and I'll wrap this on up. And I hope everybody understands now what I mean by the experiments. Like I said, maybe in the future I'll do something like this again and put it out there. The data points, what the objectives are, what we're going to do, and how we can involve people into the experiment to be able to hopefully yield results. All right. So without any more other questions, I want to thank you for everybody's time for dropping in on this impromptu live meeting. And I hope I was able to maybe clarify some things for people out there based on the questions that I read earlier. And I want to thank everybody for being a lifelong viewer of the Trail to Bigfoot. We're going to keep on trying to drill into the answers out there. the answers to a lot of things. So I hope everybody has a very good weekend. I want to thank you for your time. All right. Bye bye.